Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties. And thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management. Get your stuff to the cloud. Save money. This is all important stuff, and it can all happen thanks to our corporate champions at Copiers Plus. Maybe Drew would accept the Panthers. Maybe Drew showed up to the office today like I showed up to the studio today, proudly wearing a Carolina Panthers t-shirt, Joe. I can walk around downtown Raleigh and not hang my head in shame. We don't have to tell you something good today because, Joe, the Panthers did do something good. They won a damn football game. They offensed. Joe, they offensed.
What a lousy weekend for college football in the state of North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
We go into the weekend, and I'm coming out of here thinking on Sunday, like, who's going to be the most mad, right? Like, is it going to be App State still feeling it from their Thursday night debacle?
Yeah.
Is it going to be State for not showing up against Clemson in the first half? Is it going to be Carolina, apparently, who paid James Madison by the point, if the internet is to be believed?
I think it ended up, I heard $500,000. Now, because of the points, it's up to 700,000.
Either way, Carolina gave up 70 points to a football team that only scored 13 on Gardner-Webb.
Yeah.
ECU
got booed, by the way.
ECU had a 4-hour delay on Saturday night from weather out at Liberty.
Duke had a delay too.
Okay. And ECU's winning that football game at half. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And Liberty, by the power of Jerry Falwell, ends up beating them. And I mean, now like ECU's down bad. And I'm sitting here thinking, Duke, come on. How many football fans do you really have? Come on, stop. Now I'm thinking, well, what's going to happen? You know, the Panthers are going to go to Vegas and roll snake eyes, right?
Yeah.
However, the Red Rifle had other ideas.
Yes, he did. In a way, I'm happy for Panthers fans.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
It was good to see an actual competent football team out there. On the other hand, I feel kind of bad for Bryce Young. I don't know how else to put it that I feel bad for Bryce Young, because the immediate knee-jerk reaction is, well, guess he was the problem.
Sure.
Guess he was the problem, because that offense could not function. You had a full season and 2 games of Bryce Young trying to operate an offense over the course of 2 coaches and 1 interim coach. And at no point did the offense ever really look like what we saw on Sunday, with the exception of maybe 1 game.
I was going to say the fourth quarter of the Green Bay game.
That's about it.
You can't let the Bryce not have their fourth quarter.
You're right. And as this was unfolding, especially after that first drive, it crystallized the argument that I was making last week when you and I were disagreeing about whose decision was this. Should you bench Bryce Young? You made the argument, no, put him out there until you know for sure.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to understand, maybe they already know for sure at this point in the season, he ain't it. And I read you that Ben Solak, it was an Albert Breer piece from Sports Illustrated where he talked to coaches from the Chargers and how they defensively went up against Bryce Young. And they saw a guy that, if we had him mic'd up, he would have a Sam Darnold, New York Jets, I'm seeing ghosts out there moment. Okay. So when Canales went from Bryce Young is our guy to now we're going Andy Dalton on a Monday, my immediate reaction was...
After a meeting with David Tepper, by the way.
There was a meeting with David Tepper, but I bet you in those meetings, it's probably Dave Canales. If I had to hazard a guess, Dave Canales is going, man, I'm in danger of losing the locker room. And I know this is your number 1 pick, and I was brought here to make it work, but I'm also here to win football games. And if you same with Dan Morgan, right? Who Canales, that's his coach. That's his guy. And I'm sure Dan Morgan was in the room too going, look, man, you wanted me to get this team better. I went out and got Deontay Johnson. We drafted a wide receiver in Xavier Leggett, who you saw
finally
on Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
They tried to make some moves on the offensive line, right? All these things to make them work offensively, but the quarterback was not helping. The quarterback was bad. So Canales had to at least see, all right, I know this guy's undefeated against the Raiders, Andy Dalton. He continues to be undefeated against the Raiders. Let me see what we got. Let's put the crusty vet out there. And I thought the CBS broadcast did a good job of positioning Andy Dalton and where he is in his career. He's like, look, I'm not that guy anymore. I've come to terms with who I am and what I'm doing here so I can play loose. Dude, they looked loose. They looked like a cohesive offensive unit. They were doing stuff, and Andy Dalton was having some throws that I've never seen Bryce Young make. at this level.
Taking
right
more
down
chances.
Taking chances down the field, right down to that Adam Thielen touchdown where Thielen comes down awkwardly on a foot and he has a hamstring issue, which I guess we'll find out a little bit more today. But dude, you can't watch that and not think, damn, man, Bryce Young really might have been the problem. And we're not going to see Bryce Young play another game for the Panthers, maybe ever, which we can get into in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll see him back with the Panthers next year after he's had some time to just reset himself.
So 2 things I was thinking about this weekend and I watched this game.
Yeah.
Number one, you've been comparing Bryce Young to a lot of bad quarterbacks. One of them was Josh Rosen. And you know what the Cardinals did after 1 year of Josh Rosen? Now, they took him number 10. They didn't take him number 1. But do you know what they did after 1 year with Josh Rosen? They said, this is not going to work. This is not the answer.
This ain't it, right?
They took Kyler Murray the very next year with the number 1 overall pick. So there's a precedent here for a quarterback who is that bad as a rookie that you can move on from him, even if you've used a really high pick on and invested in him. So that was number 1. That was more of my serious thought about Bryce Young.
You know, if I may be serious for a moment.
Do you know what my unserious thought? Because I was thinking to myself, like, how do you move on after only 1 year and 2 games? Well, it's been done before. Okay. Albeit not with the number 1 overall, but
no, that's unprecedented.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that part of it, but that was my serious thought. My unserious thought was when they were showing him on the sideline. And I thought to myself, do you think Bryce Young grows facial hair on purpose so that he doesn't look like a 7th grader on the sidelines?
Yeah.
That's all I could think about. While they kept panning to him, and he clearly had done up his hair and his facial hair this week. Yeah. And I'm sitting here going, I bet you he doesn't even want a mustache or a goatee. I bet you he does it just so he does not look like he's in 7th grade. That's all I could think about when I was looking at him. And because again, it's the snap judgment. It's seeing him at the combine with his backpack on and going, wait, now what? You're what now?
Yeah.
You're who?
Yeah.
We're going to do what? Especially as a franchise who had Cam, Jarrell, Newton. Yeah. That's the quarterback exception, not the 5'8" guy who's 168 pounds.
I mean, heck, you're seeing it now. You still take flyers on guys like Anthony Richardson to see how they compare. Right?
Go line them up and look at them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So going back to what I said about Dave Canales and the room and everything else, look, winning cures everything. Everybody's really, really happy. But if you're this early in your tenure and you're already having veterans look displeased on the sideline,
which they did in that Chargers loss.
No doubt. You have to do something to say, hey, look, we're still trying to win football games. And after the game, the Panthers put this out on social media. There's a couple of things to play with here. There's a serious conversation, and then there's the silly conversation. Let's have a little fun at first, shall we? Actually, we can just have fun the rest of the way because we've been talking seriously about Dave Canales in the room. So this is from the Panthers YouTube. This Dave Canales, his first win as a head coach. You see him, he's hype, super sunny Dave. I forgot who I was talking to, and they saw Dave Canales on the sideline and going, that man is fit.
Oh, yeah.
He looks great. He looks great. Who's that bald man in the room, Joe?
He's going to come in here and spoil this ending, man.
Yeah. Put a pin in that. We'll get back to that. So here's Dave Canales. He comes out. He's all...
Let's go! That's Panthers football!
Oh, that's Panthers football. What is Panthers football, Joe?
Do tell.
Please break this down for me,
Not
Dave.
falling down by 27 or 20 at the half is a great start.
All right, I'm curious to see what Panthers football is.
That's our football. Run the ball when you want to. Stop the run.
Okay, that's pretty good core tenets. Run the ball. Run the damn ball.
Sounds good.
Stop them from running the ball. All right, that sounds easy enough.
Throw it over their heads.
Okay, taking deep shots.
Take a few shots.
We saw that with Andy Dalton. Haven't seen that with Bryce Young.
Keep it from doing it.
Don't let them dot you.
Football's so funny sometimes.
It's really complicated.
People treat football like it's this overly complicated, as though breaking down film is more complicated than my brother putting together a freaking rocket that goes into space. Okay? They try like, no. You got to throw all the concepts out and all the football jargon, and people get really excited about that stuff. But really, at the end of the day, football ain't complicated. And Dave just put that all out there. All right. So Let's. I'm gonna scrub here on YouTube to the end.
And I was feeling so good though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never look like that guy. But
look at this. Look at that
I was gonna
notepad,
say-
Joe.
Look
at that
I have
notepad.
nothing in common with this man, other than he was taking great notes, and I'm sitting here going, "So see, we got something. We got something in common."
Tell me something good. So this is at the end. Everybody's hype. He's handing out like, "Hey man, you did a good job. You did this. You did that." Now it's time. Now it's time for the moment.
By the way,
Boss man. There he is, Joe. Look at him. What's he wearing,
The
Joe?
only redeeming quality to him spoiling the end of this movie is the shirt. The super cash billionaire. Hey guys, I'm just like you.
Casual owner Sunday.
Of the football.
I don't know,
What
man.
is that?
I don't know, man. That was something. Now, as we said, since people were theorizing last week that David Tepper was trying to pull a major league, be so terrible, you're left with no choice to leave the city of Charlotte. Now, some people took this literally. You guys are not fun at parties. Like, why would David Tepper be leaving? He just committed to $600 million for Bank of America Stadium renovation. And I mean, he has Charlotte FC. Y'all, lighten up, okay? So, because it's a major league situation, they just won a football game. It is time to remove an article of clothing from one David Tepper. Joe, are you ready?
I'm looking forward to this all day.
There goes the hat.
The hat is gone.
The hat is gone off of David
Well, it's
Tepper.
appropriate because he likes to take off hats.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. All right. What to do with Bryce Young after this? Now, they say that Bryce Young he's going to be with the team. They're not interested in trading him or any of that stuff.
Well, they also said he was their quarterback. So
He also
I'm not
said
really
that,
taking
too.
whatever they say for their face value.
He also said that too. From Adam Schefter ahead of that game yesterday on ESPN, he said several teams have expressed an interest in trading for Bryce Young, despite the fact that Dave Canales said the Panthers do not intend to trade the former number 1 overall pick, league sources told ESPN. Schefter added, for now, the Panthers would still like Bryce Young to back up their new starter, Andy Dalton, and believe there's a chance they could turn to Young again later this season, depending on how the upcoming weeks play out. Fine. I can see that. I understand the thinking. It's the NFL. You can get really, really hype after 1 week. You overreact. You can say this: the Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders after 1 week, and then they've done Cowboys things the following 2 weeks. Andy Dalton could get hurt. So there is a chance they do have to go back to Bryce Young at some point if they have to. I'd be really curious to see how the room would react to that. But, Joe, there is a team that could use Bryce Young right now. This is Mike McDaniel without Tua. You sent me this. I'm going, okay, what is Mike McDaniel, Dolphins head coach, without Tua? Let me, first off, charge your phone, buddy. Let me scroll. Oh God. Oh, God. Wow. Now, here's my thing. They could have just used a picture of me, if we're being real. Mike McDaniel without Tua looks like me. Okay, let's just be honest about that. Anyway, by the way, I don't know what to do. I get what they're doing. I get what they're saying about Bryce Young. And there's this argument that Andy Dalton going out there and playing the way that he did only sinks Bryce Young's value even more. Here's where I will disagree. Bryce Young is on a rookie contract still. There's value in having that low contract as a former number 1 pick, as a reclamation project. And if you're the Dolphins, who have a window with the wide receivers that you have, why would you not at least take a chance? And never underestimate the hubris of coaching. I can fix him.
oh, yeah.
I can fix him. You guys suck, but I can fix him. That's something to keep an eye on.
Don't forget, as I mentioned, Josh Rosen had given up on a guy after a year, or knowing after 1 year that it was over.
Yep.
Trey Lance. Remember, the 49ers moved up and traded valuable assets to get Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't realize that Brock Purdy, their 7th round pick, would be more valuable to them. Guess what? They ended up trading Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys for a 4th round pick.
If you're the Panthers and you got to rebuild, you might take something like that.
I do think in this specific instance, especially if the Dolphins don't try to go get Russell Wilson, who I think would make more sense, I could see them getting a 2nd round pick for Bryce Young.
Okay. Something to keep an eye on. Let's go to the OG Sports phone, shall we?
Tell me something good. Took the money line for the Panthers, and the DraftKings had a boost where if you go up 7, you win. So Bada bing, bada boom. I don't care what happens for the rest of the game. Let's go, baby.
I like those sound effects.
He's a regular old Ken Woodley, for heaven's sake.
Panther fan of long time here, Alex here, aka Foxbuster, and there is 28 seconds left going into halftime. Thielens down. Panthers are up 20-7, and I just want to say we should have known it all along. With Geno Smith, with Baker Mayfield, it was always going to be with the journeyman himself that Dave Canales could fix and regroup and rebrand. In Andy Dalton, aka what I call the Red Rocket. Red Rifle. I'm very hyped. I'm very excited for the potential going forward with Andy Dalton. Granted, it's only one half. We still got a full game to go, but this is everything I expected to happen coming out of the benching of Bryce Young. And hopefully this gives Panther fans something excited about, at least a minuscule portion. It could collapse in front of us and we could just say, hey, that first half was pretty beautiful and we can work on that. Love the show. Love the podcast. Have a great Sunday, guys.
It did not implode. It ended up being a pretty damn good Sunday for the Carolina Panthers. All right, what else do we have in the sports phone?
Third quarter. It's 24-7. 24-7. Whoever made the decision to start Young should be tarred and feathered next time game. Go Duke. 4-0. Calling it now. 17-point blowout over Carolina.
I feel like that caller went to Nature's Relief before taking that. I mean, I would have gone to Nature's Relief too ahead of a Panthers game.
Yeah.
Just to vibe out.
Especially after the weekend.
All right,
Everyone else.
What else do we have in the sports phone?
Gentlemen, most people call the sports phone in anguish, and I'm calling today in a lot of happiness because it's 33-7 Carolina with about 13 minutes left in the fourth. And so just wanted to propose something here. If the Carolina Panthers turn this around and make the playoffs, could we get one of y'all to sing the Carolina Panthers rap, the Dominate the Foe rap from years ago by, I think it's Ked Woodley sang it. So just going to propose that. Just they make the playoffs. I feel like one or both of y'all, or maybe get Rand involved as well. I think it would be great content for the loyal listeners. Thanks, guys.
It could be. Although I do feel like the Ked Woodley thing. Look, I guess I got to give our friend Jake Failing a lot of credit. I made fun of him for posting this ahead of the game. And I guess he decided to do a 1-for-1 recreation of Dominate the Foe. So Jake, who's like the Panthers hype man at Bank of America Stadium, and I've known Jake for a very, very long time. He said he was channeling his inner Kid Woodley and risking 95% of my confused followers wondering if I've officially lost my mind. And I did think he lost his mind. Now I have to ask Jake, I got to text him, where do you get these shorts? These Panther shorts are amazing. So he decided to just dominate the foe.
Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. We growl to win this game. We call pro football.
I have questions for Jake for sure. All right, what else do we have in the sports phone?
Hey guys, it's Paul. I got 3 things for you today. Number one, I think they should paint the hair of the Jerry Richardson statue red to immortalize the Red Rifle, because what he did on Sunday is nothing short of a miracle. Number two, is it possible that we've been looking for the next Tom Brady in the wrong place? I mean, we've been looking at Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, guys that have a bunch of mileage on the tires and rely on their mobility to play the game. Well, Andy Dalton was the only quarterback in the NFL this past week with 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's 38. And no one's ever confused Andy Dalton for a mobile quarterback. So is Andy Dalton the next Tom Brady? Just asking the question. And 3, hey, NC State, Carolina fans, App State fans, tell me something good. All 3 of us were so god-awful on Saturday and embarrassed the whole football state that the football gods said, you know what, that's enough punishment for 1 week, and they blessed us with Andy Dalton. Peace.
Tell me something good.
You like where it says that?
Yeah.
All right. Last Panthers-related sports phone call.
All right. 2 takeaways from the Panthers game yesterday. Either David Tepper is a monster from Space Jam and sucked the talent from all of the state's college football teams, or this Panthers offense could have been driven by a league average quarterback the entire freaking time. And the pick for Young over Stroud looks way worse in hindsight. So, should my main takeaway from the game be more anger at the Young pick, or should I take a reading from the book of Dave Doran and shit, man, just be happy we won?
Yeah, shit, just be happy you won. But to answer your question, what you should be upset at is not necessarily Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. It's more along the lines of the Carolina Panthers going about the process of drafting a rookie QB to turn your thing around without having put a team around him to help out. Straight up. Last year in particular, they had no assets because they had to go get Bryce Young. This year, they went and put the work in to build something around the quarterback, but Bryce Young might have been so broken from last year that there was a carryover effect into this year. Like I said, he was seeing ghosts. Now you put a half-competent quarterback in there, and you got your answer. Oh, we got some pieces here. We can work with this.
There's a lot to be mad at when it comes to the entirety of the Bryce Young evaluation, the trade, everything you gave up to get him. There's a lot to be mad at.
It's all there. But it is all there.
Ultimately, now you just have to try to solve the problem going forward.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot cry over that spilled milk. So we'll see what the Panthers can do. Because take a look around again. Let's take a look around on the rest of that division.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of that Saints game yesterday.
Dude.
People are pumped about the Saints. The corner from the Eagles was like, they still have Derek Carr. I was like, the accuracy.
Yeah.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Enovana for sponsoring Housekeeping. You can check them out online at enovana.com. Green Cleaning Solutions, ENOVANA.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
We got OG fans. You can go to OG trianglemedia.com right now to sign up. I'm sure that Lauren Brownlow will get emotional with her newsletter today about the Panthers actually winning a football game for the first time in a long time. Giglio will have some written content tomorrow. We have ACC Panic Room that dropped over the weekend. We've got an OG on business talking about Adrian Wojnarowski coming out this week as well. All of that can be yours for just as low as $13 a month. Go to OGtrianglemedia.com. We're going to be on location Thursday in Durham at the Can Opener. This is by the bridge that opens up those trucks, right?
Yes.
Very good name.
We're going to be in Durham, 2:00 Thursday at the Can Opener. Come see us. This feels like us trying to claim new corners.
All right.
It's going to be interesting.
I'm down with it. So again, that's going to be this Thursday at the Can Opener. Come on out. Normal 2:00 time, or are we doing 2 p.m.? Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to double check on that one. Big thanks to our friend Matt Davis over at State Farm InsureGarner.com, theoginsurance.com. You can call 919-779-8277. What are you laughing at?
I saw Matt at the Garner game on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, might not be interesting. He's like, it could be fun, though. He goes, what if you did the show from the Abersboro office? I said,
why not?
Why wouldn't we?
Why not?
He's like, well, it might not be that exciting. I go, oh, no. I'm sure there'll be a big, it's a Halloween. He wants us to come over there. It's a Thursday.
Yeah.
I said, absolutely, man. I mean, there might be a Cincinnati, Arizona game that week. I don't know.
Let me ask you this. Can Matt get me a red State Farm polo?
I'm sure he can.
Okay.
Sure he can.
Then that's what I'm going to be.
Okay.
That's what I'll do for Halloween.
You'll be Joe from State Farm.
From State Farm.
Put some khakis on.
Yeah. If I have khakis.
Love it.
But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Big thanks to Roback. Check them out online, roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Joe's actually got one of my favorite hoodies on today, that green performance hoodie incredibly comfortable.
Struggle so much with my logo.
I see your logo. You're good.
There we go.
You're good. You're good. So again, go to roback.com to
It's
save
the
20%
OG.
off your order.
It's the Roback OG Golf Classic next Friday. We do have room for one group. If you have a group next Friday, 10-4, October 4th, the Roback OG Golf Classic. I need a group. I don't need individuals. I need one group.
Okay.
Send me an email, giglio.joe@gmail.com. A lot of shenanigans for our tournament this year. I'm excited about it. And we will be that. The speed round rules will be in play.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people worry about going to a golf thing and being like, oh man, I don't have 5 hours. I don't have 5.5 hours. I don't have this. And it's like, nah, man, we got this thing done in 4 hours last year on the course. We had drinks. We will have those again.
Yeah.
I will have. And again, one thing I really want to highlight now, Roback can't come and sell things, but they can come. And I always tell them, if you just touch a Roback shirt or hoodie, you're going to be like, where do I get these?
These are amazing.
Where do I get these? And you get them at roback.com, RHOback.com. That's that part. I know this is a little bit of a housekeeping, but, and again, if you have a group for Friday, October 4th, Eagle Ridge, email me, giglio.joe@gmail.com.
Big thanks to Breeze Through as well. We're in peak tailgate season, and Breeze Through has everything you need for the tailgate, from the beer cave, ice, very, very crucial, along with snacks and anything else. And of course, clean bathrooms. So check out breezethrough.com. Download the app. You can also find ways to save money on gas. So again, big thanks to our corporate champions over at Breeze Through. We did an OG After Dark on Saturday following NC State's not so great showing at Clemson and North Carolina's 70 burger put on by JMU. And I thought it was an amazing moment in Triangle Unity where both North Carolina fans and NC State fans were like, man, what the hell is this crap? And people, we were there for you. I mean, we opened up the OG Sports phone. People were talking it out. And we were just talking about stuff in the moment. But now we've had some time to sit on what we witnessed on Saturday between the Tar Heels and the Wolfpack.
You want me to choose violence or no?
Go ahead and choose violence, man.
I wonder who the Triangle Sports leader is. The people who were there for you on Saturday after the game? Or the show this morning that I had turned on talking about the Cowboys. I'm sure that's what all the people in the state of North Carolina and in the Triangle really wanted to hear about this morning.
Oh, yeah.
After the weekend that we saw the Cowboys. Yeah, so I'll just ask, who's the real Triangle Sports leader?
I have wondered
just a small query.
I've wanted to do a shirt that, putting a subjective, because all these things are subjective, right? So I've wanted to be like the Triangle's favorite sports talk.
Yeah.
We could put that on a shirt, right? Let's start with the Tar Heels before we get into NC State, because I think the NC State conversation leads into a larger conversation I think we're going to have to table for tomorrow's show.
Yeah, my phone is just a mess.
For tomorrow's show. Oh, dude, Saturday my phone wouldn't stop for a variety of things. But my phone calmed down until later in the evening when people were trying to figure out what the hell was going on with Mack Brown at North Carolina.
We weren't there, so I'm not going to pretend to have any kind of idea of what actually happened.
So inside Carolina, Adam Smith was the first one to put this out here about Mack Brown's comments to the locker room and to some other folks, as the headline put on Inside Carolina, created a flux situation. Like, what's going on with Mack? What's the future of the program? What's the future of the season? Is Mack Brown done? All that kind of stuff. I'm going to read directly from our friend Andrew Jones over at Tar Heel Illustrated, because I think he put together a much more succinct explainer as to what happened after JMU dropped 70 on the Tar Heels.
And one background setup here. North Carolina normally 99% of the time does an amazing job of making people available.
Yes.
But in this game, they only made Mack Brown available in the postgame, correct?
No players, no assistants.
Just Mack.
Mack Brown has a history, and he did this to Gene Chizik, where
last year after the Georgia Tech game.
We got crushed. I'm not answering any questions about the defense. That's Gene's job. You can ask him about what's going on. That led to an awkward moment, right? So no coordinators, so no Jeff Collins to explain, hey, man, how did the Minister of Mayhem have the mayhem brought to him? Because real quick, going back, there's really no other way to put what happened on Saturday in Chapel Hill. North Carolina got outcoached by JMU, straight up. They knew how to attack them, and they took advantage of some other miscues, and that game was completely out of hand. So they got outcoached. There's really no other way to put it, right? And Mack Brown said as much after the game. So he has this quote, "It can only come back to one person, and that's me. I've hired everybody that works on this staff. I've hired everybody that works in this building, and I've signed every player on this team. So the people that want to blame me, they should, because I'm 100% at fault." Bingo, right? So that's why he didn't have any coordinators. That's why he had no players. But then again, it is 2024, and if players want to speak out, they can, which is what J.J. Jones, wide receiver, did when he was like, "Oh yeah, all y'all fans need to shut up and support the team," which caused its own stupid social media kerfuffle. This is from the Andrew Jones piece. Yet, when addressing the team in the locker room after the game, Brown told the team if he's not the right man for the job, he will step down. Murmurs include Brown saying he was done. The players reacted immediately, telling the Hall of Famer they think he is the man for the job. The source, however, also told Tar Heel Illustrated that Brown, quote, gets very emotional, especially after losses, and that he walked it back after leaving the locker room. The source also said Brown, quote, is not stepping down and will meet with the coaches Sunday to move forward. So there you go. That was from the Andrew Jones piece. Of course, I have a good idea of who that source might be. That source might have also emailed that Mack Brown will have availability today like he typically does, and we'll bring you those comments on tomorrow's podcast, obviously, because we record in the morning. I've talked to a couple of people who have explained all sorts of variations of what happened yesterday. At best, this was something that was misconstrued, and it broke out the way that it did on Saturday night. That's at best. But based on what I've been told,
broke out from the media source that. Yes. Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay. I think that media source has done an amazing job in building their little Keebler tree. They have. Amazing.
So I'm glad you bring that up, because I do want to get to that in a second. I want to go back to IC in a second, because I do think that's another component to this.
Yeah.
So at best, it's misconstrued, and it gets out there. And clearly, Mack told, as it was explained to me, it wasn't leaked. That's the thing.
Okay.
Because the way it's been portrayed to me, I'm only going based on what I've been told. It wasn't just in the locker room that Mack Brown was really, really upset and questioning things and taking the loss hard. Like, this was something that he clearly was bothered by, which speaks to a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And this actually ties back to a point that you've been making about the NC State game last year, when they had nothing in the tank for the Wolfpack in Drake May's final regular season game, and really his last game for the Tar Heels, because he wasn't going to be in the bowl, obviously. So for those who might not remember, you basically were like, how do you have that in this NC State game? What are we doing here was your overall point, right?
Yeah, well, it's a 2-year cumulative effect. In 22, they're 9-1. They lost their last 4 games in 22 with Drake May, who was a top 5 NFL draft pick.
Yeah.
23, they start 6-0. They're in legitimate contention, not only for an ACC title, but to make the college football playoff. They finished 2-5. One of those wins was over Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
And then you play a game against NC State where you literally don't show up for the game. They literally did not show up for the first half of that football game.
No.
And to be clear, I've seen North Carolina blow out NC State. I've seen NC State blow out North Carolina. I have never seen what I saw that night. And I literally had no idea that night how that happened. And I literally to this day have no idea how North Carolina accepted that, other than Mack quickly coming out, whatever it was before the bowl game or after the bowl game, and saying, I went to the top 6 donors and this is what they say. Okay. So there's a money factor in there. I got to tell you something about Saturday's loss, though. That's the 8th time since the start of the 2020 season, 8 that they've lost outright as a double-digit favorite.
Yeah.
That's 6 more times than any other ACC team. 8 times in a game you're supposed to win.
If this were any other coach, they're fired. Straight up. Any other coach, they're fired. But it's Mack. And you just illustrated something that Mack has control over. The people with the money like Mack But here's
for a good reason.
But here's where the cumulative effect has finally gotten to Mack and why there's a dumpster fire in Chapel Hill that I don't think they can extinguish going forward. And again, think about inside Carolina here for a second. But I want to talk about the boosters. That was a flex. Straight up, it's a flex.
By Mack. Yeah.
Mack loves to flex that. However,
that's how he got here. Going back a half step.
Yep.
They owed Larry Fedora $12 million. The only way they were even able to fire Larry Fedora was Mack had mobilized his bases to say, I'll come in, I'll take this thing over. And then all those boosters were like, yeah, we'll get rid of Larry and pay him out if you bring in Mack.
But here's where you lose the boosters. When you look like you don't have your fastball anymore. And that's where Mack Brown looks. And not just on the field results. I'm talking about behind the scenes, the master of PR, the guy who understands how to control a message, which gets us back to the NC State game. You'll remember after that game, Dave Dorn went viral because in a hot mic, hot camera, I'm sure he knew the camera was there, whatever. But in the heat of the moment, he says, those pieces of shit over there haven't beaten us in X amount of days, right? It was an online thing. People moved on with their lives and off they go. That game was late November, right?
Yeah.
Second signing day is in February, right? You have your initial signing day, and then you get your one in February. You go from the end of November all the way through February, where Mack Brown has not addressed it. People moved on with their lives, not thinking about it. Mack decided that was the moment that he wanted to show some fight. So he's already playing catch up. Usually, Mack is very good about
in that day
being in front of the message.
Yeah.
You would have done it at your following press conference, but it didn't happen. And my understanding is that Dave and Mack, who do know each other and have known each other for a very long time, talked it out. Okay. Like this was not something that was lingering. They've talked out that incident in the locker room, if you want to call it an incident. But Mack decided that he had to do something that signing day and brought up the only thing he talked about that day was
not his class, not the players that they brought in. But.
Yeah, not the class, not any of that stuff. He had other people talk about the thing that he loves, the thing that supposedly energizes him, recruiting. Instead, he decided to use that time to complain and apologize to UNC for what Dave Dorn had said back in November. So that was PR fumble number one. PR fumble number two occurs at ACC kickoff, where I make the joke oftentimes about us, like, you know, a lot of people are asking questions about us being an NC State podcast while I'm wearing a shirt that says we're not an NC State podcast. Okay. Well, when you keep bringing up, I'm not retiring. I'm not retiring. Y'all say, no, I'm in it. Like, man, we get it, dude. You addressed it at the end of last season. We'll talk about it at the end of this upcoming season. We're not talking about it in July. But Mack decided to tell a room of reporters, hey, man, I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, not only that, but he called Mike Elko or whatever he did.
You lied.
There's 8 coaches, including one on my staff, who've been telling recruits that I'm not going to be here.
So that's PR fumble number 2. Man, Mack's not on a winning streak here. And then we get to Saturday. And I don't know. I can only speculate that while you do take the loss hard, the key part that I focused on was how everybody was very quick to tell you the room told Mack, no, Mack. Because it was like this idea of, I'll step away if I'm not the right guy for the job. No, don't do that. You can't do that, Mack. We love you. We're going to win one for the Gipper. Like, here we go. That's a bad play. That's like a really manipulative way to go about these types of things, if that was your thought. But obviously it breaks out, and now we got all sorts of questions about Mack. And what do you and I both know when it comes to these things, going all the way back to the state game? Once you get that whiff of quit, it's a wrap. And that's where I think the boosters have probably looked at what's going on here and are going, man, I don't know if I can defend Mack anymore. It might be time for another direction. You can't have, Mack says, you're North Carolina. You can't lose to a Group of 5 school. Buddy, this ain't Alabama, man. North Carolina very much does lose to Group of 5 teams. I mean, they don't lose like that to Group of 5 teams, I guess, but that's not what that's about. Which gets back to your inside Carolina point and how this all kind of came out. Inside Carolina, and this is just me reading how these things play out and having a pretty keen eye on how media stuff plays out. When IC's done with you, and they've been done with Mack for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I'm being somewhat gracious with just the 2 years, but certainly.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget 21 was a flaming disaster.
Yeah. Inside Carolina has decided Mack ain't it. And that does not help with your messaging, which is another PR fumble. So Mack Brown has created a dumpster fire of his own. I don't know if he can extinguish it at this point. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. And it can get worse.
No,
it can always get worse.
He can't extinguish it. Again,
it can get worse on Saturday against Duke.
Again.
Yeah.
While the state game was a cumulative, was the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Was the coda, was the death rattle.
Yeah.
Again, you can't be 9-1 and lose 4 games. Then speaking of PR messaging, well, the reason we lost at the end of the year is because we played good teams.
Mm-hmm. What does that make you?
Right.
Right.
So you went 1-9 against good teams. I'm taking Campbell out of that equation.
Yeah.
Awesome. What does that make you?
Yeah.
So listen, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Carolina decided that they wanted to keep Mack Brown after the way that last year ended, even though there was an easy, clean break. And I get it, but Monty Jones has told us this forever. Maybe there was a conversation. Maybe somebody did go tell him, just retire.
And he said, no.
Don't do this. You don't need to do this. Don't make us fire you.
Yeah.
Don't make us do it that way. Don't make us do the Cutcliffe thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, there's this big Cutcliffe energy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just go away. Just put your hat down. You don't need the money. You don't need the fame. You don't need the wins. You don't need any of this anymore.
No.
You know? So one of the things I always kind of go back to with Mac a little bit, that maybe in the back of my brain, why is he sticking around? Somebody had told me a long time ago, because this goes back to the ECU game when ECU scored 70 on them and beat them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was the game after that, the one they lost to in Greenville, the last one they lost to in Greenville. Mac's agent, who also was Dave Doran's agent at the time, called me and said, hey, we're putting together a package to bring Mac back to Carolina.
Yeah. And
I was like, I don't think that's going to work. I said, why would you do that to Dave? He goes, oh, Dave will be fine. This and that. I said, okay. And he go, so I said to my Carolina people at the time, I go, hey, just so you know, like, this isn't from like a message board. This isn't from like whatever you think.
Mm-hmm.
I go, I have it on a pretty good source here. Mac's trying to get back here. And the person I know over there said to me, why would we bring Mac back? This is what they said. They go, Mac might want to coach football for a year or two. But you know what Mac really wants? He wants to be the AD.
Mm-hmm.
So now maybe I'm sitting here thinking in my head, maybe Mac's playing some sort of game here where he thinks if he could just hold on and hold out, then his new friends at the board can run out Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
And now he can become the AD, which is what I think he's wanted all along.
Sure.
At North Carolina in his retirement. Maybe that's the play. I don't know. There's a lot more moving parts here than what appears. Because on paper, you move on from him. They should have moved on from him last year.
Like I said at the start of the conversation, if this were any other coach, he'd be fired by now. But Mac's got a stranglehold on the right people. But maybe this past weekend, and depending what happens on Saturday, that stranglehold is slipping. So we shall see. Heck, all this conversation that we're having, it could vary because I know triangle football like the back of my hand. We're having this conversation about Mac right now. Watch them beat NC State at the end of the year to ruin Dave Doran's year even more so than it's already ruined.
Sure. Don't ever forget that when North Carolina fired John Bunning with 4 or 5 games left in that season after the South Florida game.
Yep.
They beat State and Chuck Amato, Barrington Edwards. They beat him.
Yep.
And he kissed John Bunning. And ultimately that contributed to Chuck Amato being shown the door that year. So,
triangle football, baby. Ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like triangle football. It's our football. Nobody else talks about it nationally, but hell, man, we can't get enough of it. Speaking of the Wolfpack, we had a couple of leftover sports phone calls, OG sports phone calls about NC State's loss to Clemson. Real quick, having some time to think about it a little bit more. Look, NC State at 2-2, the season's not completely in the tank, obviously. Losing to Tennessee, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. I don't think there's any shame in that. They looked unprepared. We've seen that before out of NC State, not ready for prime time. That's not new. We've seen plenty of triangle football like that. And yeah, Saturday was pretty damn embarrassing for NC State at Clemson. I put more of it on the defense than I do the offense. I got the offensive line has issues. They got Northern Illinois, Dave's old squad, coming to town on Saturday. The schedule is still relatively soft, all things considered. Even though we know based on what we've seen nationally that there are no Saturdays off, folks. But Dave has, I think, built up enough of a track record at NC State that they can scramble to salvage something from this season. The question that I'm curious, I don't have the answer to, is what is an acceptable level of scramble? for NC State? Or is what we're seeing this year some sort of breaking point for the Wolfpack as a program and the fans trying to understand like what it is that we have to do to get to the next level as a football program?
Also realizing, Dave has been saying all along, 8-9, 8-4, 9-3 is pretty good. 8-4, 9-3 is pretty good. I keep thinking back to Saturday, thinking, man, this is a weird way for Dave to prove to people that 8-4 and 9-3 is pretty good. If he pulls this thing in at 5-7 and 6-6, people are gonna be like, see, 8-4, 9-3 ain't that bad.
Let's go to the sports phone.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. I've been wanting to fire this man for 5 years, but Dave Doran has outdone himself these last 3 weeks. He's worse than I even thought he was. This is craziness. It's insane. And the fan base is still defending him, or even crazier than he is. That's it.
Okay. So that's the yin to this yang.
So my NC State fellow alum and fans are not going to be happy with this probably, but we can't fire Dave because he wins too much. And I know that sounds kind of funny after Saturday, but Dave's going to Dave. That happened last year with Duke. This year was Clemson. So that's kind of baked into the cake now, for NC State football. But I'm 54, and so I guess I've got a little bit of history that I remember going to games and seeing Tom Reed on the sidelines, and was in college when Mike O'Kane was running around with that stupid look on his face because we just got run out of stadium by ECU or UNC. And as embarrassing as it was to walk out of Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, and I was there, it was. I walked out of that stadium in Charlotte after getting run by UNC and ECU in a couple games, more than 1 year, and it was a lot worse. Let me tell you, it could be a lot worse. And I don't want to go back there. I know it sucks now. I wish we could break through, but I don't want to go back to that. And I'm more afraid of going back to that than I am never breaking into the college football playoffs. So I'm afraid that's where we're at, guys. We're just going to have to accept it and move forward.
All right. And that kind of leads into the last sports phone call related to NC State, which I think will be a good jumping off point for something that we'll probably spend a good chunk of time talking about on tomorrow's show.
Hey, Joe's calling again. I'm the one who bravely brought up the point of NC State and Carolina both going 8-4 this year, and that seems to be looking ever more likely now, at least for the Wolfpack. But I wanted to know, I've seen a lot of discourse after this Clemson game and after the Tennessee loss and all this stuff about getting the commitment from the athletic department and from fans to build a better program. I wanted to know what it would take to get a better commitment from the athletic department to create a better program for the football team, besides obviously a billionaire donor or Texas oil money or, stuff like that. What would it specifically take for that to happen?
Joe.
Buddy. Feel like we can tease this one till tomorrow. It's like, what do you want to be? What are you happy being? And I've said this all year long. NC State's a middle class team.
Yeah,
that's what they are.
Yeah.
So is North Carolina. Well, there's a lot of football programs in college football's middle class. Okay. You say 8-4, they'd have to go 6-2 over the next 8 games to be 8-4.
I can see it happen.
Just think about that.
I can see it happen, by the way.
I can see them going 2-6.
That's fair.
I mean,
that's fair. Hey, look, getting back to Carolina, I can see them winning one for the Gipper.
I was going to say, you go back to that Carolina game, right? If you can't show up for the state game at the end of the year, what are we doing?
Yeah.
This game, if you can't show up for Clemson in the first half of the football game, after the way you were embarrassed by Tennessee, if you can't show up in that game, that says to me, A, you have no pride. There's things you can teach to people. You can't teach pride.
Yeah.
So what you do going forward, I could show Aiden White the tape of every mistake that he's made. I can look at the defense and go, here's where you screwed up. But you have to have pride to let Clemson And that menagerie of skill players do what they did to you in the first half of that football game. You are announcing to the world, especially after the way that you lost to Tennessee, I have no pride. You can't fix that. So the next 8 games are a true uphill climb for NC State, including this Saturday.
If they lose Saturday, you know what? We'll tell you what. Let's table that conversation because I think it's an interesting conversation. And you know what? We can open up the sports phone for this one as well.
Yeah. What do you want NC State to be?
So call the sports phone. You can call the sports phone at 919-444-2211. And I think that's the prop, man. Like, what do you want it to be?
Or Carolina, either one.
And I think the sense that I've always picked up on from NC State fans in particular is that they want an opportunity to build towards a breakthrough season or a season where things can come together. Now that's harder to do in the era of NIL. You know, you can't go through these recruiting cycles and build guys up and get to that point,
which is Dave's strength.
Exactly. Which kind of gets to a conversation about quarterbacks we flirted around with last week about CJ Bailey versus the transfer that they bring in. But I do think that NC State fans are happy with majority 8 and 9 win seasons, beating North Carolina, but also having that key missing piece of the Dave Doran tenure. And that is a big win outside of the conference. Heck, even inside. Well, they've beaten Clemson.
Right.
But yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. And look, you know what though? I don't think Clemson is, I think people buried Clemson after the Georgia game when they should not have buried Clemson after the Georgia game. I'm not trying to act as though this is vintage Clemson, but clearly it's a Clemson that, as you're shaking your head, does the thing that FU, we're still Clemson in the ACC.
Right. You know who Clemson is? Clemson's Carolina basketball.
Yeah.
Last year, Carolina basketball racked up against the ACC. They felt good about themselves. They got to the NCAA tournament, and it was like, there's teams outside the ACC who, that's Clemson.
That's Clemson football right now.
Clemson's not going to lose an ACC game. Look at Clemson's schedule. I'm not kidding.
No, I know.
Just put Clemson and Miami in Charlotte right now.
Yep.
Don't even play the rest of the games. But do I think they're going to beat Miami? I mean, they have a chance.
They have a chance to beat Miami.
Because they're going to anyone can outcoach Mario. But I think Ward is that special type of talent that will carry Miami through.
But does Ward have the talent to kneel down? That's the question.
Does Clemson have a chance as a 2-loss team to make the playoff? That's going to be interesting.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting because they're not going to have a damn thing on their resume that suggests to the rest of the world that they belong in the playoff at 10-2.
Big thanks to Home Field for being a corporate champion. Check them out online, homefieldapparel.com. Use that promo code OG24 to save 15% off your order. They got hoodies on lock, but don't sleep on those coaches jackets. Big fan of the hats as well. They got the dad style hats. They got the rope hats. They got the corduroy hats for the fall. I mean, we're officially in fall now.
Huge.
So all of that is available for you at homefieldapparel.com. Again, use that promo code OG24. Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Check them out online, myhtr.com. You'll see a lot of stuff about guaranteed offers. They make it like super easy peasy to sell your house. Well, it's super easy peasy for them because you're not getting the full value of your home, Joe. Now are you?
Yeah, don't be dumb. Buy and sell with confidence. Go to Hometown Realty. It's myhtr.com.
Also, big thanks to Whitaker and Hammer. You bought that house. You sold that house. You need attorneys to get you through the closing. Well, Whitaker and Hammer can do that for you. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Also, check out Shady's. We were at Shady's last Thursday. My dad
was finding some good stuff.
My dad
had no idea.
Shocked. He was shocked that they had Hennessy. I'm like, yeah, man, Shady's don't play. They got the good stuff there. So check out Whitaker and Hammer, wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. Yes.
Check your email. You might have just gotten the what you've been waiting for.
What did I get? What am I looking for here? Oh, there it is.
It's your Super Bowl.
Deep Fried Media Day is coming Monday, October 14th. Let's go. Very excited. This is why you can't tear down Dorton Arena. That's where I get my fair food, man. Let's go. Do we have they haven't announced the new stuff yet. Just the fact that, thank you for telling me because I'm actually going to respond to the email. Do you want in on this?
What was the date?
October 14th, Monday, 11:30.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
So is Giglio. See you then. Hopefully, I was the first response. Usually, I have a record of like being the first one to respond to these emails.
Yeah. NC State Fair is going to be here soon, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need to put a tell me something good graphic together for the Wolfpack.
All right, email has been sent. You know, I did send it for real because you heard the Mac mail send it out. All right, back to college football. We were talking about Georgia in relation to Clemson. New AP Top 25 is out. Georgia's still not number one. Texas remains number one. Georgia number 2, Ohio State number 3, Alabama number 4. This stuff is going to get sorted out with Georgia and Alabama playing this weekend. Put a pin in that. And then Tennessee's number 5. I am curious, based on what we've seen so far, based on resume, why wouldn't Tennessee be getting a little bit more love to move in beyond just being number 5 at this point? Tennessee's looked impressive.
Well, you got to move somebody out to move them up.
That's fair. I mean, am I really all that thrilled about Ohio State's win over Marshall?
No, but there is a portion of it, like, what do they have?
Okay,
right?
that's fair.
I mean, I think Tennessee's the answer when we start talking about things, right? Let me give you the list here since Philip Fulmer retired. Lane Kiffin, Derek Dooley, Jim Chaney, Butch Jones, Brady Hoke, Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah.
Who I barely remember.
That was a hot minute.
And then Josh Heupel. So you have to have the right coach. And it has, I mean, even a school like Tennessee that has a million advantages over NC State took all of that to find the right coach.
We have a Louisville, Notre Dame. They're up this weekend in the top 25 matchup. Obviously, these are the kind of games that help the ACC when it comes to positioning for the college football playoff. And as we talked about with Clemson, they moved up to the 17 spot. But as much as we can talk about the games on the field, it's actually the games off the field that end up being pretty amusing in college football.
It's got a couple good ones this week.
There were a couple good ones this week. So I got into weird TCU social media,
which I didn't realize was a thing until a couple of weeks ago.
TCU football social media is very much like UConn basketball Twitter. They do the deep fried stuff, much like Cal was going all in on. And you know what? Shout out to Cal. I think David Hale pointed this out too from ESPN. He's absolutely right. Cal really has adopted that Go ACC lifestyle by talking shit all week and then kind of owning it. You know, I mean, Cal should have won that game, but that's neither here nor there. Kind of disappointed because I wanted to see what the memes were going to be after the fact. But my favorite Cal post-game loss meme was like Marx, right? You know, talking about communism and, you know, distributing the wealth. And he's like, yes, you know, as these woke Marxists, we are about the redistribution of wins, but at what cost, right? And it used the Wario losing in like in Smash Brothers, and they put Marx on top of him. I laughed. Like, it was like there's so many levels of references to the deep fried meme that I thought it was good. But TCU football decided to go to war with SMU over the fact that the game was on the CW, and they put this on social media. It's like in the style of Sports Center, and you see the Horned Frog mascot making coffee, doing the Keurig thing, and then it gets to the end. So there you go. This is not Sports Center. Unfortunately, this is the CW. And I was kind of surprised by that. They get run by SMU over the weekend.
Who found religion, apparently.
So the CW itself decided to put this out on socials. Not SMU, not the ACC, the actual network.
I don't want to wait for our lives to be over.
This is why I love college football. It's so good. And speaking of college football and stupidity, if you're going to make bets, if you can do wagers,
you would think people would know by now.
The internet does not forget, guys. So some guy named St. Bill Snyder said, if K-State loses to BYU, I'll shove a beefy 5-layer burrito up my ass. And BYU football, BYU football, when they beat Kansas State, decided to tweet out simply, "Live Moss." I can't quit you, college football. You know, NIL, all the stupidity, like all the things that we don't like about college football, we spend so much time talking about, all that melts away like queso when I get content like this.
Again, where is the galaxy brain? This is like Mark Robinson leaving a comment on a porn page. Why are you putting a burrito up your ass?
I don't know.
Like, I don't understand.
I mean,
why are you even thinking of being like, what would be a sufficient punishment if I put this burrito in my rectum?
Like I always tell you, Joe, there's something for everybody on the internet.
Clearly.
I'm just saying. Big thanks to DraftKings. You can check them out. Download the app today. DraftKings Sportsbook. You can use the promo code OG24 to kick in some really cool deals as a new customer. As an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, they've got all sorts of ways that you can engage with the football. First touchdown, anytime touchdowns. What's going to happen on this drive? All those things available for you on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So if you're ready to score big with DraftKings, the number one place to bet on things like touchdowns, download the Sportsbook app and use the promo code OG24. When you do, new customers will get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The crown is yours. Speaking of DraftKings, remember I made a series of ridiculous, like I don't have that much money in my account, so let's see if I can build it back up. Well, you steered me wrong on the Georgia Tech Louisville
Did you
game.
see how that didn't cover?
Yeah.
Did you see how it didn't cover?
I didn't see how it didn't cover.
I cashed out early.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had a field goal blocked. And Louisville returned the blocked field goal to cover.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Louisville otherwise would not have covered.
So I went from I went from having like no money in my account left to now having $16.50 because there's the other given. What's North Carolina's record as a double-digit favorite?
They've now lost 8 games straight up.
Okay. So I put a straight-up money line bet on James Madison plus 330, and I think I ended up having like $2 down or whatever it was. I got my $16.50. I didn't get anything else. I lost my no-sweat bet with the Patriots plus 230 against the Jets.
But
I didn't cover. State did not cover, so I lost that one. I wagered 68 cents on that one. Didn't
you
cover
said
on
no
that
sweat,
one.
though, so you get it back.
Yeah, I got it back.
There you
I
go.
got it back.
I'm going to try something here since I know we don't have an alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
It might be the only time all year I get to say this. I had a winning NFL Sunday.
Look at you
on DraftKings.
Look at you, Joe. Proud of you.
I should retire.
I
should retire. I should retire.
But you won't.
But you lose all of the bets that you don't make. But real quick, Dave Canales style.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's get up in the locker, get protein. Hey. I want to thank the Chargers game ball. Hey, Chargers, thank you. Up early. Get that up early. 7 points up early. Good job. Good job. Hey, on the live line, Andy Dalton was over under 215 yards passing after he had 55 in the first quarter. Hey, Andy, Red Rifle, thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, Lions -3? Huh? On the road. Lions, thank you. And finally, I just got to say thank you. I got to say thank you to my Kansas City Chiefs. What? You wanted pass interference at the end of the game? I'm sorry. Are you new here? This is a Wendy's, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I put a guess what was called defensive pass interference and what wasn't.
This is a Wendy's, sir. Embrace your Kansas City overlords. Okay. I placed another Chiefs to win the Super Bowl bet this morning with my winnings. So, hey, this is where you come in and you give me the game ball, David Tepper style.
I don't have a game ball, but I can give you. You know what,
Dave? Appreciate you.
I'm going to give you a Rod Brindamore game puck. His.
Oh no! Look what I have. Look what I found.
Oh, you have your That's what you do. You got your WKNC Employee of the Month.
So I find this thing in my parents' house. I walk in today and I said, wouldn't it be awesome if we start doing Employee of the Month?
We should.
and then one of us has to be the one who never wins it. So like the bit would be
that I still keep losing.
Or either way,
that I don't get it.
Like either
Leanne
way,
gets to
right?
be, yeah,
like
Leanne
we put it up on the wall each month,
and then I'm never on there.
And it's one of us never wins. We just find a way in the 2-man crew to. I've never been more proud of something though. I don't remember. I have no memory
of being the WKNC
employee of the month for 95. But look at the handshake. Like you're all excited. Like, what is that supposed to be?
I don't know, man.
Like, you're all excited about Ramses and Tuffy?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why on this? Like, who in the Student Media Association was like, you know what we really need?
Handshakes.
We need a snappy plaque.
That's what we need.
With a handshake.
Perfect.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Big thanks to Happy and Hale.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
I felt like we were never going to get rid of that jingle because people are already used to that jingle. Well, let's focus on that after the show, Joe. After the show. Let's get through the show. And then you can hang your employee of the month somewhere.
I know it's not going to show up is the only thing I'm mad about.
We can work something out. We can work something out. So big thanks to Happy and Hale. Check them out. Download the app. All sorts of goodies that are associated with the app. But more importantly, you can order ahead and have your food ready for you when you get there. Other cool thing about Happy and Hale, they work with Loop Nutrition. So if you're trying to cut back on calories, you're trying to get in better shape, eat better, there's a QR code that you can find at Happy and Hale that ties into Loop Nutrition that'll help you get to your goals, which gets us to, Joe.
Fitness, so much more than a gym.
Check them out, o2fitnessclubs.com. Loop Nutrition's part of that, showing you that they are more than a gym. Same with Renew Physiotherapy. Do you have an appointment today?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yes. A little bit different this week, but the app is still there. And again,
yes,
I would say to you, like Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Christian McCaffrey, they would go a long way to getting themselves back on the field if they had the Renew Physiotherapy app, because it keeps you on track. Got videos to show you what you're supposed to be doing, gives you the reps, gives you everything. I mean, anybody can figure this. If I can figure this out, anybody can figure this out.
Yeah, if you can work on that app, I think anybody can work on that app. So again, check them out, o2fitnessclubs.com. You'll probably see me at Seaboard this week because, woo buddy, do I need to burn some calories? Thanks to our friends at Longleaf. Just saying. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Bugsbite.com, where you can bundle and save. Mosquito Authority is still active at my house, even though we are officially in fall, doing some yard work over the weekend. All the rain that we've had made things active, but Mosquito Authority keeping that in check. But as it gets colder and critters are starting to come into the house and things like that, you can get Pest Authority to take care of the inside of your home. So again, go to bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com.
Don't you turn me loose.
All right, Joe, let's go through some NFL quick hits here, shall we? We them boys.
What happened?
It's what always happens. I don't blame the Cowboys for this, by the way. I actually blame all of us. You know how earlier you chose violence?
Yes.
And nationally, everybody feels like anything that happens with the Dallas Cowboys has to be discussed 24/7. Real easy way to differentiate yourself in this business. Talk about the Cowboys, right? Which is why we're an hour and 10 minutes into this show, and we're finally getting to the Cowboys. But I bring this up to do my best Mike Greenberg impression of, are the Cowboys Super Bowl contenders after week one? Why do we do this? We do this every year. And they've had two, boneheaded kind of games that find themselves on the losing end. And now we're questioning Mike McCarthy and Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons too busy doing podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
To be focused on what's happening here. I don't know. Maybe Micah Parsons becomes the player that gets players to stop doing podcasts in the middle of the season. Just wait until you retire. Okay. Just wait until you retire. Anyway, so the We Them Boys cycle is in full effect. And all I have to say is you only have yourselves to blame for that. You mentioned Russell Wilson possibly being traded to the Miami Dolphins. Is this because Justin Fields is super, super awesome, or is this just what the Steelers are and you can plug in any quarterback at this point and make it work?
It was Cooper Rush, right? The Cowboys guy that they subbed in for Dak, and they went like 4-1, and everyone was like, well, anybody can play there. No, I think Justin Fields is. I always thought it was weird that, keep in mind, the Bears only got a 4th round pick for him.
I know.
You know, and he would actually put up decent numbers with the Bears in 2 years as a starter. So quarterback market, man, you were talking about being depressed on trade value. No, I think they're fine. That was a good win. That was a good win on Sunday for them. They were down early. They did come back and win, kind of stranglehold that thing. Their defense is their defense. Their standard is their standard.
The standard is the standard, and they will have a winning season. They'll flirt with the playoffs. I don't think anything really changes with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What does that mean for Russell Wilson? I think they're going to have a point where they're going to have to go to Russell Wilson. So let him get healthy. Let him sit behind Justin Fields for a little bit, and you might have to tap him on the shoulder and get him in there. I wouldn't trade him yet. I think it's different than the Bryce Young situation.
Okay.
Russell Wilson knows what he is at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's finally hit him. I know what I am. So I'm in a good organization, and obviously they have his back. You saw what happened with the Denver and the petty game ball and all that other kind of stuff. So I don't see Russell moving on. If you're actually going to make a trade for a quarterback, if you're the Dolphins, it is for Bryce Young. See what you can do with that. And if you don't have to give up that much, I say make it happen. The Panthers just have to look for something in return. Something as simple as that. Speaking of former Panthers quarterbacks.
What on earth, man? I did not have this on my NFL bingo card.
This is a combination of Sam Darnold being comfortable where he is. The Jets game, by the way, is going to be fascinating. I think they play the Jets in 2 weeks. The Vikings and the Jets is in 2 weeks. So we're going to see all the sort of...
Will the ghosts come back?
Will the ghosts come back? Aaron Rodgers will tell you, man, it's not ghosts. It's just your previous forefathers coming back to visit you. Wait, what? You on that ayahuasca again? Fair enough. It's Minnesota's defense. Brian Flores is doing an incredible job.
I did not have that on my bingo card either.
Yeah, Brian Flores is doing a really, really good job. Because if you look at who the Vikings have beat, and they've contained the quarterbacks that people are very, very high on, including C.J. Stroud, right? So a lot of credit goes to Flores and the defense for doing it. But you also need a competent quarterback with the right pieces around him. And Sam Darnold, like Baker Mayfield, having a little bit of a renaissance. Maybe the Panthers had something to do with that. Maybe not. But you know what? Good for Sam Darnold. You mentioned accept the three-peat with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the same boat that the New England Patriots were in when they were running hot with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and everything else. The Chiefs don't necessarily do anything to beat themselves. And they're going once again through a September slate where they don't look like they're special. They look like, oh, this is the year to get them. No, they just continue to do things that don't mess it up, or they'll correct their mistakes. And that's why they are where they are. And they already have a leg up in their division based on how things have played out early in the season and the teams that they've beaten. So I don't know if I'm quite there to accept the three-peat.
Why not?
I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I don't know. Let me see how the rest of the season goes out. But to your point,
I mean,
sometimes
somebody has to stay healthy.
Like Steve
Mahomes.
Well, speaking of health, this is not Brock Purdy slander. This is just pointing out that the San Francisco 49ers are built on all their key pieces needing to be healthy. And not a single one of those key pieces seems to be healthy right now, including Christian McCaffrey. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Again, Brock Purdy was fine. But in order for you to be that Super Bowl contender, it's not about Brock Purdy. It's about all the other pieces. And the 49ers, at least it's happening to them now.
Yeah.
And not at the end of the season.
49ers lost in the Super Bowl last year. It's the most powerful force in the universe other than when it involves Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes.
This is true. So that was my only quick opinion on what I had seen from the San Francisco 49ers and everything else. And I have one more thought. Are you mad at Saquon Barkley now?
No, I bet on him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So you went from a Monday night where Saquon, to run the damn ball with Saquon, to, oh, no, they actually are running the damn ball with Saquon.
I almost tweeted, are you going to overturn that one? And then I just thought to myself, I'm the only one who would find any pleasure in that. So I just let it be. Just let it be.
Oh, man.
No, I got back on that horse. Don't worry.
Okay.
So I knew it. I knew it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that that you didn't have a situation where Saquon Barkley did you dirty twice.
No,
just for different reasons.
He didn't get me coming and going. So that was that. I'll tell you what, the Chiefs almost did the thing that most gamblers hate.
Yeah.
Because you can hate a team. I clearly do not like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So I bet on the Chiefs last night. And if Atlanta had kicked the field goal the second time they were the first time they were in the red zone, when they went for it on fourth down, the Chiefs would have won, but not covered. And there's not a single thing worse on this planet than betting on a team you hate and then seeing them win, but not cover.
I'll say this one last point about the NFL over the weekend. Of the football that I watched, and I know it's been bubbling under the surface, but I think this week we're finally going to get to this point. These have not been good games.
No, they've been garbage.
Been garbage games. Ratings have been good because people are trained to watch the NFL, and gambling obviously has a huge component to why we're watching these things. But you gotta call it like you see it. And we're down to like third string quarterbacks in Miami. The guys that are positioned to be really good quarterbacks are old and looking their age. And even the Chiefs are not a dynamic team to watch every Sunday. They're winning in slogs, which again,
think about that Eagles-Saints game. As you mentioned, Saquon Barkley.
Dude.
Saints are scoring like 40 points a game. It's the fourth quarter and it's 3-0.
They fell back down. Yeah, the Saints fell back down to earth.
But I'm going,
yeah,
this is what the NFL's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we can't even get the two reliable teams right now, scoring-wise, to put up points.
I have a feeling this week and next week we're going to have a really big conversation about, I think Mike Greenberg, getting back to making fun of Mike Greenberg, I think he called for like an outlaw of those two high safeties. Like you just have to start banning defensive formations.
Come on.
Oh, I'm being serious.
No.
We're going to get to that point because, hey man, we ain't watching for slogs. We're watching for the offense.
Jeez.
That's what it's all predicated on. And right now it's not a quarterback's league anymore.
No.
And that's a problem for the NFL. Be curious to see how they handle that. Big thanks to the Butcher's Markets. You can check them out online, thebutchersmarkets.com. I went on Sunday to re-up on the old Ovies family recipe of the charred jalapeno and garlic chicken and the ancho lime chili chicken to make fajitas. Did that yesterday. That was really, really good. Also got some meals for the rest of the week. That 4-cheese manicotti is fantastic. Italian enchiladas, big fan of those. Big fan of those. I also got the chicken meatballs to make some meatball subs this week. Just super easy peasy stuff that you can get at the Butcher's Market.
How about this? Congratulations to the Butcher's Market. They have been corporate champion from the beginning of OG. And now, starting on Friday, the OG mailbag will be the Butcher's Market. The Butcher's Market OG mailbag, getting you ready for your weekend tailgates with the Butcher's Market. And starting next week, it will be the Butcher's Market OG Live. Every Thursday for the next year.
This week or next week?
Next week.
Okay. I need to talk to Anna about doing a new graphic. Big thanks to Two Roosters. Check them out online, tworoosters.com. You can go to the Two Roosters locations. You'll see a QR code that talks about the super secret Pint of the Month Club. It's there, Joe. I've seen it with my own eyes, with my own eye sockets. You can go to tworoosters.com and check out their various flavors.
So I went on Friday.
Yeah.
Are you a cheesecake
I love
person?
I love cheesecake.
Oh, have you had the strawberry cheesecake yet?
I've not had the strawberry cheesecake yet.
Again, I will ask how Jared gets whole ass cheesecakes into the ice cream, just as the brownie is like a pan of brownies in your ice cream.
Yes.
The strawberry cheesecake is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I suggest a corporate champion synergy moment. Go to Two Roosters, get yourself a pint of your favorite flavor, and then go to Nature's Relief, naturesreliefhempstore.com, RELEAF, hempstore.com. Find you something nice, gummy, a pre-roll, one of their sips, a happy sip or a soda, whatever it is. Chill, wait it to kick in, and you go, you know what would be really good right now?
No, it really hit the spot right now.
Two Roosters. That, folks, is corporate synergy. Check them out. Nature's Relief, naturesreliefhempstore.com. You might not know what you're looking for, but they can certainly help you get you in the right direction. All right, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe. This is from our YouTube, our After Dark on Saturday. As a UGA fan, thank you to the Tar Heel State for sending so many great players to our program over the years. You have a really good high school football program in your state, and I hope none of your schools ever get their act together and start hoarding the talent. From Kevin, calling JMU a scrub team is so disrespectful. Who called JMU a scrub? Was it somebody in the comment section? I don't remember that. For Bruce, great conversation, very entertaining. Born and raised in Raleigh, grew up on the state campus. Granddad played football at state. I ended up a Tiger. My sincerest condolences to all of my Wolfpack relatives. Let's see. We got JMU's the best team, has been the best team in VA for quite some time. I'm not surprised it happened to UNC. I'm surprised that it happened that way. Dropping 70. It's one thing to beat Carolina.
JMU fans, hold on now.
If you
simmer.
If JMU beat Carolina 28-21, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
So we're talking 53 points in the first half.
So after you scored 13 against Gardner-Webb. So come on.
Yes. Mack Brown 2.0's best win was the close loss to top-ranked Clemson in 2019. Yeah, that's a good point. There are 3 legs to a triangle. Duke handled their business, so don't bring Duke into your parallel dumpster fires. Robert, that's a very good point.
Sure, man.
From Will, first-time listener, but I am 100% getting a F you, we're still Clemson if they're seriously being made. We got to talk to Breaking Tea about that.
There's a lot of Clemson fans. I always forget this.
This is why we talk about Clemson.
I know.
Let's see. From State alum, I say NC State just invests all NIL into O&D lines. At least we could run the ball. Something to that effect. Let's see. From Glad. Man, I wish college football did not exist here. Basketball schools only. Oh, come on now. Downfall of the 3-3-5D without a really good linebacker, which we've had recently. It doesn't work. It's fine. From Jay Clemens, this is, I guess, about State. They played scared versus these top opponents. There was only one time where I felt State brought the fight in a game like this, and that was the 2014 FSU game. Let's see. What else? From John. Where can I see this picture of Ovies in a suit? Well, glad you asked. I pulled up the Dimitri tweet after Adrian Wojnarowski announced his retirement.
Did we not show it the other day?
No, we never showed it. Oh, man. Who is that guy?
I did not think it was you.
You didn't think that was me, for real? Well, the beard is tight. It's down to the scruff, really. And yeah, man, I had a lot more hair.
Exactly. And you're like crazy tan or something in that picture.
I had just come back from a trip.
Yeah.
Because that was at the NSMA in Winston-Salem, and Woj was going in as like an all-timer or whatever it was.
Sure.
So I remember posting a photo on Instagram saying Woj bomb. That's Doris Burke behind us. If you're paying attention, Brownlow and Caroline Darney are behind me stalking Doris Burke to get a picture. They were giddy when Doris took a picture. But yeah, man, I don't know what happened to my hair. I was also a lot thinner. Again, pandemic did a number on us.
Oh, we're still here. That's all that matters.
Did a number on all of us.
That's all that matters.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition.
Oh, man, it's homework day.
Whew. We might not be the Triangle Sports leader because these things are delayed on YouTube at 2:00, but we'll lead the way in other ways.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see you tomorrow.